First up, the way from mine Site 3, the cut. Site 3. Last week, they only ran for just over 2 days, and still pulled 30 ounces of gold. So after a full week of running, how much did they actually pull? When all the gold hits the scale, 55.8 ounces. Parker lets out a grim laugh. The big red just hasn't hit its stride yet. Next, the gold wave from Site 2, the long strip. This week, the long strip kept running into small issues. That cost them some runtime, and the numbers showed it, down from last week. Final tally, just 171.95 ounces. Combined, both wash plants bring in 227.8 ounces total, about 7 kilograms of gold. Back-to-back weeks, 2 wash plants barely cracking 200 ounces combined. You have to wonder, what is wrong with this ground? 9 weeks in, total, just 804 ounces. Is Parker actually on a downward spiral? Parker's 2024 gold rush is now into week 10, but this year, Parker finds himself in a very tough spot. 9 weeks in, total gold pulled, 804 ounces. That's less than 100 ounces per week on average. Parker doesn't know where it's going wrong. He's got no answers for what's happening this year. The one piece of good news right now, over at Ken's ground, the site prep is done. All they need to do is move a wash plant in, and they're running a 3-plant operation. But this would be the first time in Parker's career he's run 3 plants at once. His target for Ken's ground, 900 ounces in 3 weeks. That's 300 ounces a week. To make it happen, he's sending over the SD600 wash plant he bought last year to work Ken's ground. Ken's ground. They've named this wash plant the Cherry. Here's how the operation is laid out now. The long strip at Site 2 is running the wash plant. Over at Site 3, the cut, the big red is running hard. The Cherry is staged and ready at camp, but they need to haul it 12 miles, that's 20 kilometers, over rough terrain to Damien at Ken's ground. To get the wash plant there safely, Parker puts Tyson in charge of the move, and Tyson brings in his old buddy Mike to help get it done. Mike's got serious experience hauling heavy loads. Having him along gives Tyson some peace of mind. To save time on this haul, they run 2 lowboys at once to move the Cherry in one shot. The Cherry, Tyson leads, hauling the sluiced section up front, navigating the route. Mike follows behind, hauling the main plant body. Both rigs roll out toward Ken's ground. Aside from one small creek crossing that gave them a bit of trouble, the run goes smooth. They get the Cherry delivered to Ken's mine site and quickly get it onto the pad and start assembly. Once the conveyor is connected and locked in, Ken's ground officially begins processing. As the first load of pay dirt feeds in, right here, Parker finally achieves his 3-plant operation. With all 3 plants firing, can this be the game changer Parker desperately needs? Can 3 wash plants running at full capacity get him to that 10,000 ounce goal? But just as Parker's dreaming of a comeback, over at Ken's ground, barely 1 day in, the Cherry breaks down. A grinding noise from the conveyor sends Damien scrambling to shut the plant down. He calls the mechanics in immediately. One look and the mechanic knows the conveyor belt is shot. This is a big job. The belt has been torn clean open, a long gash running down it. It might look like it can still run, but run it and that tear will spread fast and eventually snap completely. The belt is held together by a metal fastener that joins it into one continuous loop. The mechanics figure that somewhere along the way, that fastener got snagged, and as the belt kept turning, it ripped a long tear right through the rubber. To get the Cherry running again, they have to replace the torn section. Problem is, they don't have a spare belt on hand. This is a 48-inch wide belt. Mechanics Liam and Justin head to the equipment graveyard to take their chances. And you know what? They actually find one. A 48-inch conveyor belt. Liam rounds up every available mechanic in the shop. They cut off the section they need and haul it back. Nearly half the mechanic crew heads out to the conveyor and they start cutting out the damaged section of belt. They measure the damage, cut the new belt to the exact length needed, then splice it back into the original belt. With the whole mechanic crew working it, in less than half a day, the conveyor belt is repaired. Damien fires the Cherry back up once again. Compared to any other crew out here, that turnaround speed is elite. And Damien's got to keep pushing toward that 300 ounce weekly target. No time to waste. The end of the week rolls around fast. The foremen from all 3 sites gather up. Running 3 plants? Everyone's fired up. But how much gold they actually pulled? That's what the weigh will tell them. Chris starts the gold weigh. First up, Site 3, the cut, Big Red's haul. The weigh finishes fast. Shockingly fast. Because this week, Big Red only pulled 58.85 ounces. Parker's face drops. That's not good. Next, Site 2, the long strip. At least Site 2 stays consistent as always and doesn't kick Parker while he's down. Final tally, 185.65 ounces. Last up, Damien with the Cherry's haul from Ken's ground. Parker had high hopes for Ken's ground. He was hoping for 300 ounces or more per week. The Cherry only ran for 2 days this week. There was never going to be a miracle number. Final, 58.45 ounces. All 3 wash plants combined, just 303 ounces total. About 9.4 kilograms of gold. Parker can't hide it. That expression says everything. Come on, Parker. 3 wash plants. All that manpower. All that cost. And in 1 week, Rick's single plant is outproducing all 3 of yours. Does Parker have any way out of this hole? What does it take this week to finally put a smile back on Parker's face? Parker's 2024 season is nearly halfway done. Total haul so far, around 1,200 ounces. Barely keeping pace with Rick. To turn this season around, he went all in on the 3-plant strategy last week. At the long strip, the wash plant keeps processing steady as ever. At the cut, Big Red is grinding away hard. And at Ken's ground, the cherry only just started last week, 2 days of run time. What the cherry can really do is still an open question. Parker needs all 3 wash plants running a full week clean before he can get an accurate read on where things stand. But stretching to 3 fronts inevitably brings new problems with it, like not having enough people. Over at Big Red's site, they only have 2 truck drivers assigned, but 2 truck drivers on day shift alone can't feed Big Red 24 hours a day. To solve the problem, Parker sends 2 A60 haul trucks to the cut. The 60s are the biggest trucks Parker runs. Each one hauls 20 more tons per load than the standard A40s on site. 2 days of the 60-day shifts can stockpile over 1,000 extra tons of pay dirt, more than enough to keep Big Red running around the clock. But the A60s don't get used that often, and it doesn't take long before there's trouble. Tamai is dumping a load when a huge bang goes off. Sandy spots it instantly and gets on the radio to Tamai. The truck's tailgate has broken. A busted tailgate means the truck can't dump properly. So Tamai drives the truck straight back to camp to find her mechanic boyfriend. Your girl's truck is down? Better fix it fast. The tailgate's whole job is to keep the dirt from spilling out the back. Fastest way to get her back out there hauling? Just rip the whole tailgate off entirely. Sure, she'll lose some material on the haul back, but she's still way more productive than an A40. Big Red can't afford to lose an A60, so Taylor and the crew knock out the tailgate removal fast. Tamai sees her man come through, rewards him with a hug and a kiss. Good squeeze. Then she jumps back in the truck and heads back to the cut. Back on haul duty. But one problem solved, another one starts. Tamai's barely back to work when Sandy spots the second A60 in trouble. The other A60 is dumping its load, and it goes sideways. She radios Taylor immediately. Taylor gets to the site, and what he sees gives him a headache. On one side, the truck is right at the edge of a drop-off. On the other, the box is halfway raised with a full load. Both hydraulic rams are extended. If Taylor just yanks the box back down with an excavator, there's a real chance he damages the hydraulic cylinders, turning a minor problem into a major one. So he can't just use the excavator to force the box back down. Instead, he tries using chains to pull the bottom cross beam of the box. But the wheel on one side is buried too deep. The chain snaps clean. Time for plan B. Taylor brings in a forklift to support the truck box from underneath, then has the operator hit the controls to retract the hydraulic rams. Once that's done, he can safely use the excavator to flip the box back. Truck recovered. Back in service. Taylor heads straight back to camp. 3 fronts running. Between people, equipment, and mechanics all pushed to the limit, one person getting maxed out just as hard is Chris. Every gold cleanup now means hitting 3 different sites. And it's not just once a week. Sometimes to catch issues with the wash plants early, Chris is doing a cleanup every 2 or 3 days. He monitors the gold output numbers to spot any problems with the plants or the sluices. But Chris is the only one doing these cleanups. 2 plants he could barely keep up. He knows flat out, he can't manage it alone. Gold cleanup isn't a light job. It comes with serious physical demands. Chris didn't want to go to Parker with this. He knows Parker's already under enough pressure. But Chris is older, had back surgery. He can't push through. He had no choice. He had to go to Parker. Chris tells Parker he's currently working on the long strips gold. Big Red's is still on the truck, hasn't been picked up. And the cherry's gold at Ken's? He hasn't been out there yet. He doesn't want to admit it, but he's falling behind. That's just reality. He needs a second person. Here's why. Parker hears Chris out. He's willing to send someone, but it has to be someone he trusts completely. So he asks Chris, who did you have in mind? Chris' first pick is Damien, but Damien is basically the foreman at Ken's ground right now. There's no way he's available. Chris's second choice is Tomo. Parker says no. Finally, Chris asks for Tamai, but Tamai is one of Parker's best operators. Pull her off, and Mickey and Tyson will have something to say about it. Parker says that, and Chris is out of options. The 3 people Chris trusts enough? That's the list. And he genuinely cannot handle 3 plants by himself. Parker weighs it up. In the end, he agrees to let Tamai help Chris when she can. Chris finally exhales. A real smile. First one in a while. Tamai gets set up and heads to Chris's gold room to learn the cleanup process. How to pull cleaner gold than any other crew out here. As the week wraps up, everyone gathers in the gold room. Mickey and Chris's apprentice is that too. Chris kicks off the gold way. First up, the cut. Big Red site, the one that busted 2 trucks this week. The cut hasn't exactly been impressive all season long. And this week, same story. A full week, just 74.9 ounces. Next up, the long strip. At least here, the output stays consistent as ever. Around 200 ounces a week, like clockwork. This week, 207 ounces. Last up, Ken's ground. The cherry. Ken's ground only managed to round 50 ounces in 2 days last week. But this week, the result is something else entirely. 303.7 ounces. Ken's single site just outproduced the other 2 sites combined. Parker finally, cracks a smile. The gamble on Ken's ground, the 3-front push, it's paying off. This week's total, 585.6 ounces, 18.2 kilograms of gold. The best single week of the entire season. If the long strip and the cut can step up their production, Parker could realistically be looking at 1,000 ounce weeks. The annual goal is still within reach. Parker's 2024 season is now at the halfway point, but his 10,000 ounce target is sitting at just under 1,700 ounces total. The good news? Last week's 3-plant operation cleared 500 plus ounces. The season is finally starting to find its rhythm. 3 sites: Ken's Ground, the long strip at Site 2, and the cut at Site 3. But this week, Site 2 is in transition. The long strip, 20 acres total, has been running for 8 weeks now. They've mined out the entire first half of the ground. To keep the processing efficient, they need to move the wash plant, reposition it closer to the second half of the strip. At the same time, they need to open up a new section right next to Site 2 for next year. The overburden from that new section gets backfilled directly into the mined out first half. Backfilling while they strip saves fuel, saves time, but this also means the crew is stretched even thinner, effectively managing 4 work zones at once. To protect this week's gold output, Parker tells Tyson and Liam to complete the wash plant relocation in a single day. And honestly, Tyson's moved wash plants more times than he can count. 1 day is more than enough. In just over 5 hours, Tyson has the wash plant relocated completely. A line connected, water lines hooked up, power connected. But during the water test, one of Parker's brand new pumps, $180,000 a unit, bought this year, isn't delivering water to the wash plant. A pump that can push 7,000 gallons per minute shouldn't be having this problem. But Parker's got an elite mechanic crew. 3 guys run a quick check and figure it out fast. The inlet connection wasn't bolted down tight enough. During pumping, air got sucked in and created an airlock inside the pump. Just tighten down the bolts, problem solved. Sure enough, bolts tightened, the supply line pressurizes immediately. Water flowing, wash plant fires up, back in business. The relocation went like clockwork. Half a day and it's back to full operation. But shortly after, a few more small issues start popping up. With 4 zones running and Tane pulled over to help Chris with cleanups, every site is running lean on people. At the long strip, they have to put a relatively inexperienced loader operator, new guy Tarvin, in charge of feeding the wash plant. The job requires 250 yards per hour into the hopper. After just 6 hours, Tarvin knows he's not hitting that pace. On top of that, he keeps finding dirt jamming up the hopper, won't feed through. He can't figure out why. He keeps having to stop, climb in, and manually clear the jams. Doing that over and over is killing the wash plant's efficiency. He can learn the speed, that's fine, but a hopper that keeps jamming? That's a different problem. He gets Mickey on the radio and asks him to come take a look. Mickey gets there, takes Tarvin with him, and they climb inside the hopper. Right away, a massive boulder wedged right across the conveyor belt. It's blocking the dirt from falling through, and the weight of the dirt above is pinning it down. Stuck solid, but it's not a hard fix. Loosen the dirt above it, clear it out gradually, then pull the boulder out, and the hopper feeds normally again. This is something any experienced loader operator can handle. Tarvin's just new, that's all. And Mickey actually thinks Tarvin did well, because if that boulder had gone unnoticed, sooner or later it would have torn the hopper belt apart. And then you're not talking an hour to fix, you're talking a day. Wash plant is back running, no major issues, and the weekend arrives fast. Everyone's gathered up, waiting on the Goldway. First up, Site 2, the long strip. Even with the wash plant move eating into runtime and Tarvin's feed rate not quite hitting the target, the second half ground turned out to be a real deal. Final, 222.5 ounces, 6.9 kilograms of gold. Next, Site 3, the cut. The cut still hasn't found its footing. This week, just 82.8 ounces, 2.5 kilograms. Last up, Ken's Ground. Ken's Ground keeps delivering, and it keeps pushing higher. This week, breaking 300 again. Final, 346.8 ounces, 10.7 kilograms of gold. 3 wash plants combined, 652.1 ounces total, nearly 20.3 kilograms of gold. Parker's season has reached a new high. At the halfway point of the season, total haul now sits at 2,345.3 ounces. So going into the back half, is Parker about to make his push? You never quite know what Parker's going to do next. After pulling 650 ounces last week, Parker, at the midpoint of his 2024 season, has now completed just 1/5 of his 10,000 ounce, 311 kilogram annual goal. You could say the season is finally getting on track, but everyone on the crew is stretched to the limit. And right now, Parker calls an emergency meeting with his top people. He pulls Mickey, Tyson, and the others together. It turns out, a few weeks back, a neighboring miner near Klondike Valley came to Parker. He wanted to sell his ground. For the past few weeks, Parker's been in talks with this neighbor about buying it. And then, Parker just signed the deal. And just like that, everyone in the room is speechless. You got 7,500 acres? And that's not enough? And this new purchase is actually 2 separate parcels, 2 pieces. One Parker is temporarily calling Lookout Mountain. The other is called Sulphur Creek. Parker buying this wasn't some impulse decision. He's done his homework. Based on his surveys of these 2 parcels, with his equipment, he's estimating around 10 ounces per hour. Meanwhile, his current ground is mostly running at under 2 ounces per hour. For everyone in that room, that's the one piece of good news. But Parker admits, he's back in debt again. Buying these 2 parcels from the neighbor cost Parker $2.5 million. and Parker needs to pull at least 1,000 ounces from these two pieces this year at minimum. At $2,500 per ounce, 1,000 ounces would just about cover the purchase price. But that raises another serious problem. The crew is already split 3 ways. There isn't a single spare person to work these 2 new pieces of ground. The one silver lining, Parker checked out the Sulphur Creek ground, and part of it has already been stripped, meaning they just need to move equipment in and they can start processing immediately. And over at Ken's ground, the new area they opened this year is almost mined out. Changing plans now, pause Ken's ground operations temporarily, move the wash plant and all the equipment over to Sulphur Creek instead. That plan on the table, the room breathes a little easier. Running 4 wash plants simultaneously, they don't have the people for that. Everyone congratulates Parker on the deal. Parker's Klondike Valley ground already covers 7,500 acres, and these 2 new parcels add to that. Lookout Mountain at 1,100 acres, Sulphur Creek at 950 acres, which means Parker now controls 9,550 acres in the Yukon, the biggest landowner in the valley, and that's not even counting Ken's ground where he mines freely. Arthur, the undisputed king of the Yukon, no debate. Let's get to work. Parker heads straight out to Sulphur Creek with his equipment to set up the pad. These 2 new parcels are among the most historically gold-rich ground in the entire Yukon. Since the original gold rush of 1896, working with basic tools, these 2 parcels have yielded over $1.5 billion worth of gold. With those kinds of primitive methods, and they still pulled that much gold, which is exactly why, even today, they can still hit 10 ounces per hour. Of course, the real numbers won't be known until they're actually running. Once the Sulphur Creek pad is set, Parker wants Tyson to complete the move of the cherry wash plant from Ken's ground within 10 hours. Once Tamay and the team finish collecting the gold, Tyson kicks off the relocation immediately. This move covers 40 kilometers. Long haul, but actually easier than a short one, because at that distance, you're not dragging it slowly with an excavator. Tyson breaks the wash plant down and loads it onto 3 lowboys. Otherwise, how do you move a wash plant 40 kilometers in 10 hours? The wash plant arrives at Sulphur Creek onto the new pad. Tyson and the mechanics start assembling fast. They figured 10 hours would be plenty, but then something goes wrong. They discover a connecting bracket between the wash trough and the shaker has cracked. If they don't fix it first, they can start the plant, but it'll fail quickly and get worse until it breaks completely. So before they can fire it up, that bracket has to be replaced. And of course, that's when Parker shows up. He came out to go over the night shift crew schedule with Tyson, but Tyson tells him they might not get it running tonight. The cherry has a mechanical issue, needs repair first. Parker can't hide the frustration, but he also knows if Tyson says it's not running tonight, it's not running tonight. He settles and waits for Tyson to sort it out. Through the night, mechanics Liam and Alec fabricate a brand new steel bracket connecting the wash trough to the shaker. They reinforce it while they're at it, so it won't crack again under heavy use. After the full crew works together to swap it in, the cherry is finally ready to run. Tyson hits the start button. After 2 days of hauling and repairs, the cherry is running at Sulphur Creek. But is this ground everything Parker thinks it is? Is the gold really there? They'll know soon. 2 days later, the crew makes it to the weekend. Everyone gathers. Gold weigh time. First up, the long strip, Site 2. And the long strip just keeps being the long strip, 217.7 ounces, 6.7 kilograms. Next, a cut. The cut still can't break into triple digits, 77.1 ounces, 2.4 kilograms. Ken's ground. Ken's new zone this year has been strong all season, averaging around 2 ounces per hour. This week, even running only a day and a half, it still pulled 98.8 ounces, nearly 3.1 kilograms. In that day and a half, 2.5 ounces per hour. And finally, Sulphur Creek. Running for less than 2 days, Parker was hoping for at least 120 ounces. Anything less, and this deal starts looking like a mistake. But the room lights up. Sulphur Creek comes in at 141.65 ounces, 4.4 kilograms of gold. Parker finally relaxes. That's not even 2 full days. They haven't even hit the core zone yet. Parker can't wait to see what Sulphur Creek does next week. Season total now sits at 2,880 ounces. Can Sulphur Creek push Parker over the line toward that 10,000 ounce goal? Last year, Klondike Valley went wild, but this year, Parker's miscalculations cost him big. He came into the season with massive ambitions, 10,000 ounces, and 2/3 of the season is gone. Total haul still under 3,000 ounces. So last week, Parker made a bold move, dropped another $2.5 million on 2,000 acres of new ground. What? Sulphur Creek already has a section stripped and ready. 2 days in, 140 plus ounces already confirmed that Sulphur Creek is exactly what Parker hoped it was. Now Parker has to move fast. No hesitation. Process as much dirt as quickly as possible and keep the weekly gold output at a high level for the rest of the season. At Sulphur Creek, Damien follows the cherry to the new site. He's still the one keeping the cherry running right. This is their first full week processing Sulphur Creek. A full week's gold output here is critical for the rest of the season's direction. Damien feels the weight of that pressure. While Damien is feeding the hopper, the cherry's trough suddenly stops moving. All the dirt coming through backs up in the trough. He stops immediately and climbs on top of the wash plant to look. But he's an equipment operator, not a mechanic. He can't diagnose this. Damien shuts the plant down fast and calls the mechanics in. Bill and Justin, a father-son mechanic team in Parker's crew. The two of them are specifically assigned to maintain the cherry daily. Father and son arrive at the wash plant. They climb up together. Justin manually moves the chain by hand. That's enough to tell him the drive shaft in the trough bottom has failed. This is going to be a time-consuming repair. The conveyor